When the lights come down and I leave the stage, it's you that makes it all worthwhile.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Direction of the Heart's web TV series. And I'm here with Bruce Shepard, who is co-hosting with me tonight. Mr. Mike Aloia is on the road on several shows, and we wish him well, travel safe, and that they all go great. I'm sure they will. And our guest tonight, I'm very honored to have a longtime colleague, a very accomplished actress, and she is the my co-star in my upcoming major feature film, The Mentor, which is soon to go into production. We're close to Lisa. And I, and on behalf of Mike Aloia, we wish to welcome you to Direction of the Heart. Thank you for being our guest today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And I think we're getting a little bit of an echo, so maybe just adjust the volume a little. Yeah, it's great to have you on, and of course, Bruce, I'm sure has some questions for you, but maybe you want to tell them a little bit about how and when we met and how well, I had actually received a headshot from you, like so many others, and then when you came in and read up, when did we start giving a little bit of a background of, you've done quite a bit in the industry, and so tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I love to dance. I like to do almost anything that involves movement. I met you over 10 years ago through a small agency, and I guess, I don't know, you know all the details about how many times I auditioned.
Yeah.
I seem to have forgotten those.
You had submitted a headshot to me through Wilhelmina, or was it just, I think you through one of your...
No, it was through, no.
That's better. Yeah, I was like inundated with people that had sent me headshots, actors and actresses from all over, and of course the lead role was like, oh my God, for our viewers' sake, when I did the first realm of casting, it was like that role, of course, has so much significance to the film that there were droves and droves of ladies that read for that role. And it was like, Bruce, I tell you, it was like trying to cast for Scarlett O'Hara for Gone with the Wind. Because, when I wrote the film, not to give too much away, right, Lisa? We don't want to give too much away about the film. But when I wrote it, I mean, a lot of people thought it was autobiographical, which to a degree it is a little bit. People, places, events, things that happen. And there are scenes that are verbatim. There are other scenes that are pure fiction. And there are scenes that are blended on something that actually happened. And then, the character of the mentor himself is he's a very mysterious character in the beginning, and then as the story unfolds, and I give the storyline that his character develops and has the viewer glued to who he is, what he's about, how did he come into my life, what's he doing in my life, and all of these type of things. And it's in the treatment. We don't want to give too much away, but so even there, much of what went into the demeanor of that character of the mentor is based on the impact of what Mr. Joe Franklin, my real life mentor, was. What Joe Franklin was to me in life. And also, there's a piece of Jerry Lewis in there, who was always my hero, and looked up to him not only as an entertainer, but all the humanitarian work he's done with MDA through the years. So there's a blend there, and then there's some fiction blended into even his character. Now Lisa's character is purely fictitious. She plays, the woman that, comes into my life, and we start dating and we fall in love. Every movie has the guy, the girl, the love thing. But you see, and her character, though, in the storyline is very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very imperative.
Instrumental.
Yeah, instrumental, imperative to the flow of the story, because her character is very instrumental in the mentor and I, without giving too much away, again, back together after a parting of the ways for so many years, caused by another character. So, so she is like very instrumental in there. And then basically she her character steals the film. It's based a lot on her and what she does. And the climax of the film is all due to you know, her intervention, not meddling or prying, but her intervention is so instrumental in the character of the mentor and I, to build to the climax of the film. When, like Lisa said, without me doing all the talking, and my voice is a little hoarse from lack of sleep, and I had a big show on this past Friday. However, yeah, I had droves and droves of ladies read for that role. And it was so hard because, you know, when you're casting for a film, you know, and especially, you know, when you wrote the script yourself, or even, you know, a casting director and producer get together and they know what they're looking for on that screen. So, you know, the character in my mind's eye, you know, some of those actresses, they had the look, but they didn't have the read. Others had a good read, but they didn't have the look. And I didn't want this, you know, the character that Lisa portrays in my film to be, you know, painted up Hollywood, glamorous kind of. She had to be a very natural, wholesome type of person, because when I wrote the script, and I have to be emphatic on this, I wrote it, same as when I wrote my song, They All Remind Me of You, with no particular woman in mind. And you know, art imitates life, life imitates art. And I wrote it in the realm of, like, based on my feelings deep within me, well, where will be the woman that's going to come along and love me for me, Pete, the man, not just the guy on the screen and on the stage. So she, in the film, portrays that woman that comes along. In real life, I have truly found her now. Praise God, my dear, sweet, beautiful Marcella, that is the leading lady in my real life. You know, and never would have dreamed she's everything I would have ever dreamed and prayed for. But in the film, I mean, Lisa carries a lot of heavy weight. But all the gals that read. Now, Lisa, if you remember Gene Cogan, he was my publicist. Bruce, Gene grew up with Mel Brooks. They were like bosom buddies, joined at the hip. And Mel was like the talent end and went into the stage and screen. And Gene was more or less like the publicist. And he helped, like Joe Franklin, so many people, so many careers. I used to meet with him on Lexington Ave at the Backstage Cafe. We'd have coffee in the Danish or whatever. And we'd do our business there. And he introduced me to some of the biggest of stars. So he sent me droves of ladies as well. Well, I had tons of them reading. And I would start seeing people from 9 a.m. till maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night till I was like drained. And you know, people reading and doing the scene. And what I would do, right, correctly, was I would do that scene. I would pick out like maybe 2 or 3 key scenes to see if I could pin and nail the role. And basically, you know, go through that again and again and again and again. Well, when Lisa came in to read for me the first time, she was dynamite. Absolutely, you know, very, very powerful read. Second time I did like callbacks because I had to narrow down. It was very difficult because you got so many people. Till I finally got 10 ladies that were like top. Get a lot of back. All right, 10 ladies that were like, you might say, the most outstanding out of hundreds. And then I narrowed it down to 5. And I had called Lisa back like 2, 3 times to read again. And then one day it was like, duh, should have had a V8. Because I went back and I watched, you know, I was watching videotape because I would tape them so I could go back, as most producers or directors will do, and you could watch the footage and see and critique and say, all right, you know, this, that. And then it's like a screen test almost. And I went back and I said, my God, you know, she pinned every line in that script like as if she knew the whole script and as if she had seen it and memorized it and knew it. And, you know, so she was just incredible. And I called her up and I said, you got the role. And that was the story behind that. And, you know, every movie has, you know, in the making of a film, like all of the actors on my film, we see, you know, you've met many of them. Oh, my gosh, they could give you, you know, testimonies of what has so far gone into making this film. And now, by the grace of God, we're extremely close to getting into production with the investors. So we need your prayers, and God willing, this film will be hitting the screen, you know, very soon. Well, we got to get it done first. So I'm projecting, you know, by 2016, God willing, it'll be up there. But we'll be in production, hopefully, by no later than the end of this year. That's my target. So, Lisa, I'm doing all talking. You tell a little bit more. But that was basically...
I put my script earlier today, and I guess my pitch for the mentor would be, you know, when is the last time you saw a comedy that really touched your heart? And a hilarious comedy. I mean, it's just, I think it's hilarious. And there's movies that you see that, you know, it feels like it really happened, or I don't know, they just carry a different weight than others. And I think, you know, the script is one of those, and it's a positive. It's you know, to help people feel good. I actually saw a film last night, and there were 6 previews before that film, and I don't think, well, no, there was one comedy, the rest were dramas. And I don't know, I'm looking to laugh more in my life.
Well, this is the key.
I'll take more laughter. I certainly don't know everything there is to know on the planet, but I could use some more laughter. So
I think the whole world could use a lot more laughter. I mean, we really need the heartwarming comedies and dramas and, you know, the family style movies and such. But the way you describe it, you speak of it like it's surreal. You know, it's it kind of puts you in the movie itself. You know, by drawing you in with the heartwarming, you know, the feeling, and there's something behind it that keeps things positive, as you said.
well, there's a reason why I think investors flock to the "it's a true story."
Oh.
You know, it's the reason why these films seem to get made. And I'm no expert in film finance, but there's a certain soul or reality, and I think with Peter's script, you can really feel that soul. That, I mean, a lot of these things have been things he's experienced, and it's evident from the first page, as other people in his life have commented.
Yeah,
So,
well, you know, and thank you both. Bruce, you took the words out of my mouth. And Lisa, yeah, it's funny, Marcella just said that the other day, and I said it in my show on Friday night, that laughter is a healing agent. It's the best medicine in the world. It's a gift. When I go to that stage, when I perform, and I've said this many times, and Bruce, you probably recall when all 3 of us with Mike too, I said that, you know, when I go to that stage, it's not about Pete DeLorenzo. It's about, for that hour, I mean, I see people from all walks of life out there, and people going through all types of things, you know, who's got someone sick, and who's going through a divorce or a separation, and who's lost a job, and you know, many, many factors. And, you know, you go up there, and it's a gift that God gave me to make people laugh. So what I did when I wrote this film was I said, well, you know, it's my first film that I wrote. And I sat down and I said, all right, I don't want this to be the life and times of Pete DeLorenzo per se, but I drew from real life. I drew from road experiences. I drew from the pain, the struggle, the climax of, you know, I mean, today, and I'm honored, and I say this humbly, with international credits now. But you know, it's not about the fame. It's not about the money. It's not about any of the glamour, the glitter, the bling. And Lisa's the same, which is very humble as an actress. You know, you get a lot of them from Hollywood that are big heads, and it's all about, you know, the house and the car and the fancy clothes. But, you know, we have a passion for what we do, any good actor. So in that realm, when I sat down and put the pen to the paper, and I literally wrote it, longhand, pen and paper, and then later went to, I didn't even have a computer at the time.
wow.
I didn't even have a computer. I still have all the handwritten and little footnote. I mean, and then you went back and rewrites and rewrites and rewrites. And I edited as I went along, because I said, my God, by the time I'm done, this movie will be an epic. It can't be 10 hours long. But, you know,
Right. You like to talk.
Yeah, that's the Italian cacchierone. But you know, on the screen you have to, you know, you don't want to belabor things, and there has to be constant movement. There were many different elements, but I did draw certain scenes, like even comedy clubs or road stories, a piece from here, a piece from there, maybe something that happened, and then I stretched it or went wide. Like there is, again, not to give too much away, but there was a very comical situation. Certain scenes you just could not leave out. They were great, fond memories of, you know, rooms I played and gigs, and from the early years, the lean years to now. And then there was a particular room I played in New York. It used to be called, I believe it was called My Way, named after Frank Sinatra. And the owner was so paranoid because, you know, he got a lot of these heavyweights that came in, you know. high rollers and this and that. Says, don't do no Italian stuff. No Italian. I said, I'm Italian. I love it. And that was right when The Godfather was like popular. It had just come out, you know. So I go up there and I go into my Italian stuff, and he's like, no. And then they were cracking up. They were having a great time, and they're dropping Ben Franklin there. So what I did in reality and dialogue that actually went down, I kept some of it in, and then I went wide with it, and I actually made it a little more comical because I made them like a bunch of unruly wise guys, wannabes, and partying, and it's a very hysterical scene. But much of it, the dialogue in the beginning and that scene were like verbatim of what actually happened in the premise. So, you know, it's things like that where you'll draw a little here. And then there were other scenes that were pure fiction. And there are other scenes that were like verbatim, you know, of like, for instance, I drew from life that the premise of the parting of the ways between the mentor's character and I, that part is fiction, how we meet and all of that goes on. And then there's a parting of the ways. But the parting of the ways scene was based on way back when I was married to my second wife, and she had insulted my stage manager. And he overheard it. And he knew that, you know, it wasn't me. And he said, you know, so I says, well, she's never going to apologize. I says, she was just like really that type of a personality, and I apologize to him for her. And, you know, we remain friends to this day. But I took that premise, and again, without giving too much away, I use it where in the film, she insults the mentor's character. He's the one in my life there, and that causes the vehicle for us to have the storyline move that we kind of part ways. He says, look, I did what I could to help you. She's going to ruin your career. And he exits, and we don't see him anymore. And then comes the cowgirl in a white hat, so to speak, in the film, and she is instrumental in getting he and I back together after many, many years. And that's enough. I'm not going to say anymore. But, you know, a little bit of it is in the treatment. So,
well, Lisa, have you worked on any other film projects previously?
Yeah, Lisa, go ahead. Tell them what you've done. You know,
I've done 2 short films. I just did a supporting role or cameo in Permanent Midnight, which was written and produced by Ben Van Bergen.
Yeah.
And I'm doing another play with Richmond Shepard in September.
You've got a lot of theater background, and that I've always said, and even I
was in a short form comedy troupe that was directed by Jim Andrinos and Carol Montgomery, and I've also been on his web show.
Jimmy's a great guy, and he's a colleague of mine for many years, as you know. He's a great comic. Yeah, you did a lot with the comedy troupe.
He's awesome to work with.
For Applebee's a while.
Yeah, I've done a commercial. I've taken a number of classes. I'm still taking dance classes.
You've done a lot of credible films too, where even if it was like background work or, you know, just a featured extra or even some where you had a couple of lines, I know you've done a lot of credible.
Yeah, I've had a number of people say, oh, I saw you in 27 dresses. I was kind of like,
you were in a lot of films.
How? I mean,
you were in 27 dresses?
New Yorkers are watching the background.
Yeah, well, we've all done that in our careers. I mean, in the beginning, I did a lot of background work, and then you went to you went from a dot to a bigger dot to a bigger dot, and then you were doing featured extra, and then you were actually getting lines until I worked up to where I did starring roles. And, you know, this is what I tell a lot of actors and comics that I coach, that, you know, it does not happen overnight. It's called paying the dues, and a lot of hard work, tenacity, zealousness, and sharp focus.
But there is one focus I've heard a lot of actors talk about, and actresses too. They say that as long as you have any sort of lines in a feature film production, they say no part is too small.
Exactly, and that's a very good point, Bruce, that you brought out there. I have taught that to many actors, that there's never a part too small, and there's never naturally a part too large. A lot of them are so tenacious or overzealous that, you know, they think they're going to become SAG after overnight. They want, I don't want to do background work. I want a speaking part, but you got to work your way up to that. A lot of times, working actors can be on a set and get a waiver, or even when they go in and read for a part, And you never know. The casting director, I've had this happen even with myself. I went in and read for one part, and then they went, wait a minute, hold up. And they pull out another scene from the film. We want you to try and read for this part. And bam, you nailed the role, and then you got that role instead. So you never know. And you just have to give it your best. It's a lot. I tell everyone that's going to go in this industry, all right, you got to have skin like leather, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, and just don't ever give up, as in anything. You give up, that's when, you only hurt yourself, and that's when you lose. Jack Nicholson was about to bow out of the industry. He was getting little bit parts, and he was getting frustrated, and his manager at the time said, whoa, back up. Look at the whole big picture. Look outside the box. And it was right at that point when Easy Rider, Dennis Hopper, and Peter Fonda approached him, and Jack Nicholson actually shot some of his own money into that, and he played the role, as you know, of the attorney, and I mean, he was great now, and that put him on the map. After he did that, everybody started saying, hey, this guy Jack Nicholson, then he did The Shining, and Cuckoo's Nest, even before Cuckoo's Nest put him out of the park and through somebody's window. I mean, that was it. He was made. But
that was a great movie. I love that movie.
Awesome. And then he was incredible film, and then The Shining, and so on and so on. But, see, and look at even Farrah Fawcett. Oh, everybody looked at her. Oh, she's the blonde bimbo. She's pretty. She's this, she's that. But that girl could act. And it wasn't until she was actually given the proper role. And every actor needs that where, hey, coach, take me off the bench. Put me in the game. Let me show you what the hell I can do. You see, and when she got Burning Bed, when she got
I saw that.
Extremities,
yeah.
Man, that girl, she showed. Oh no, I'm not the blonde bimbo that you thought on Charlie's Angels. She showed she could act, and she was a great actress. God rest her soul. She was a very good person and a great actress. So you see, Lisa, and I'm sure you can concur with me that in our industry, a lot of times, aspiring actors and actresses don't get that shot. So, I always say, look, if the opportunity is out there, so keep knocking on the doors. And if it don't come to you, you go and find it. Michael, when he started, virtually took his headshot and went to every agency in New York City he could find and slipped it under the door. Because knowing that a lot of them will just go, oh, I'm sorry, or busy, or throw it in a garbage can, or it gets lost in the shuffle. He virtually put it in people's hands. That's the way to do it. Pam Dobner, when she started her career, this was clever as all hell. I don't know, Lisa, if I ever tell you this one. You know how when you put a cast, now today they have air cast, but remember the old gypsum plaster cast? And she made a cast of like her hand and arm, and she sent it to to one of the agents that she was really trying to get in with, a major casting agent, and she just had a little note, Pam Dobner, please cast me. That was clever. You're getting their attention. It's something different. And she got called. So,
that takes creativity to a whole new level.
Pam Dobner, cast me. I thought that was incredibly clever, and there have been many ways that, people, look at Audrey Meadows, who got the part as Alice Cramden. She had actually gone in and read. And Jackie Gleason, produced it. He wrote the scripts and everything. And he says, he said to her when she read, you're incredibly beautiful and everything. He says, but you're too beautiful for this part. Alice has to become an everyday type of person. And they rejected her. She came back the next day and made herself look like homely and read again. And she got the part. And then she said, I was here yesterday, you remember? And he was like, whoa, So you see, you got to have that determination. You got to use creativity and just be you. A lot of times actors and actresses try and analyze a role too much. And you develop the character. Like what I did when everyone came in is I gave them a little insight. I gave them a little feel. And then I said, here, now give me what you see that character. And the input that I just gave you, now you give me what you got. And then they would feel more loose, at ease, and they would give me their best of what I put in their head, what I was looking for, and then they just go for it. And not many casting agents or producers will do that because it's like, you're like cattle. That's what they call them, cattle calls. Read the part of Jane, read the part of Harry. Thank you, we'll call you. And, I even had a former manager say, when a lot of them were auditioning, you sit there going, what are you doing, Pete? Giving them an acting lesson? You're supposed to be auditioning them. Tons of people lined up here. And I says, hey, when I cast, this is the way I cast. And I give them fairness, and I take the time out, because what I'm going to put on that screen, I want la creme la creme. I want the best. And if I don't do it this way, then how am I going to know? See, I had passion being an actor myself, and the compassion. These actresses stepping up to the plate to nail a role, you know. But Lisa was incredible in her read. I think I still have.
Thanks.
I have all the back tapes of all of these people reading, actors, actresses that, you know, you tape them, and, you know, I mean, you read like 3-4 times for me, and I would read in character too with them. You know, I would read in character of opposite them, of, you know, the character of the mentor, the character of myself, so that you can really get the flow. Normally, when most people go on an audition, you got somebody there in that office that may not even be an actor reading with them, and they're just running lines with them. So when you can make that scene come alive in an audition, that makes it easier on the people reading too. So anyway, but Lisa, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit more about, well, we talked a lot about the film, and we could go on and on about that too, but you know, tell them like a little bit of how you got started, and you know, and what you did mention a few things you're doing now, but a little bit more about yourself. And also, we want to know, well, we'll do that towards the end of the show, where people can contact you and find you on your blog, website, Facebook, things like that. But
Sure.
a little bit more insight about yourself. That's what we do.
Well, I am, you know, evolving like everyone else on the planet, and I think, you know, I mean, I came to the city on a contract and thought I'd be modeling. And although I have done some of that, I think my soul and my talent really is, you know, more for the stage or film or television. And I didn't really have anyone to kind of say, maybe you should go over here, Lisa. So, you know, since I've been in New York, I've switched gears, and like you said, Pete, I've done a lot of off Broadway, and that doesn't really pay.
Yeah.
Although it can be a great experience, and I've been a member of Love Creek Theater Company. I'm also getting back into voiceovers, and will be working with the Learning Ally to...
The voiceover work pays well. You know, yeah, off. It doesn't. I love it. It's great. You get credits. You get more experience. It's great. It's like a workshop. It's like, you know, you're in the gym working out. You're keeping yourself honed, your craft. But I know what you're saying. It's not real money in it. But, you know, you have done a lot of modeling, and you have also done commercials, and the voiceover work is great money. But, you know, see, again, this comes down to what we know in our industry. People say, well, what made you do this? And I said, well, because this is what we do. And this is what we chose to do. And we know the ramifications that come with it. That unlike any other industry, and I say this not being prejudiced, but, you know, and people in all types of vocations work hard. You know, the white collar, the blue collar worker, the manual labor, the person who has to use their brain on that job. We're using it all. And the time, the energy, the traveling, the rehearsing, the whether you're sick, tired, personal problems, the show must go on, and all that comes with the matriculation of getting to where you're truly accomplished and being paid correctly and established. It takes sometimes years. Those that seem to be, like the phrase that they coined, overnight success, they're dreaming. It doesn't really happen. And if it does happen, it's usually nepotism or kickbacks or politics and things like that. So,
Lisa, have you tried seeking for any parts in Atlanta?
No, I haven't.
Wait.
I have to do another video audition or submission in the next month here. I was in LA for just 2 months quite a while ago, and kind of went to some open calls. Yeah, I imagine I'll probably become bi-coastal and
Right
No,
now,
I haven't checked out Atlanta, Bruce.
well, Atlanta is really booming for movie work, big time movie work. We had Ricky Muse, who was in the movie Tammy with Melissa McCarthy on Comics on Parole. It was middle of last year, I think. Meeting a lot of famous people there, and we had Colonel Bruce Hampton from Sling Blade on Comics on Parole on our network. And
well, Tyler Perry Studios are down there, correct?
Yeah.
And I think Steve Harvey, or he's in Chicago.
He's in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
But Bruce, you got a point. Because I was just talking about that with Mike recently too. Is that New York and LA are the entertainment capitals, and everybody knows that. That's where the big agents are. That's where the work is. But there are a lot of areas now, such as Georgia, that has become, and New England states, up in Rhode Island, up in New Hampshire. There's a lot of big stuff going on.
Tax credits.
Yeah, tax incentives, credit, and there are a lot of films being shot there, and there's work there. Boston too. But there's a lot of you got to.
Thank God. A lot of people don't know, and I wish I remembered his first name is Eric, but there's people responsible after 9/11 for really, initiating these tax credits after 9/11. If it weren't for these people, who knows how much production there would have been in New York, because it's just so astronomical to produce here.
Well, yeah, the cost.
It's unbelievable how they shut down a street.
Yeah, well,
it's really amazing.
Well, the
what
thing
they
is,
can do.
New York City is so compact with so many people. Instead of being, more statewide spread, over the county that it's in.
Yeah.
But that causes problems for businesses, and they have to pay more tax on the film production. Yeah.
You've got the Circle Line on the Hudson, okay, which is a boat that goes out every day, and tourists and things like that. So if you're cutting a scene on the Circle Line, or you're going past the Statue of Liberty, or like I got a shot that I want to do on the GW Bridge, literally. You got a great shot of the whole New York skyline. Pickup shots. You're going to have areas blocked off, the traffic, everything that's involved. You have to have an ambulance on the set. You have to have police on the set. So these things go into cost, and it could cost thousands and thousands of dollars to get a simple little shot of a scene, and it could take you all day or 2 days to shoot it. So this is what goes into, and that would be anywhere, but especially in New York City or in LA. So, but I'm saying that, yeah, there are Georgia, the New England states now. I know a lot of people are going to Vancouver in Canada too, and making a lot of films.
Florida is striving to be, up there with the entertainment industry, because a lot of musicians come out of Jacksonville, and
right.
I think there's been quite a few movies that have been actually shot here in Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely, yeah. And see, now in Vancouver they're shooting up there because they want to get to work, and it's tax center. But you see, if you got a film it's just going to be impossible to shoot in Vancouver when it's got to have a New York City ambiance, and that's why I'm shooting right in good old New York City, right on the streets of New York and New Jersey, my stomping ground, where born and bred. But like I said, it's not all completely autobiographical, but I'm a realist. So, yeah, you could strike a set, you could green screen, you could do a lot of special effects, you could create anything with the eye on that screen. But I'm a realist. I'm a realist as an actor. I'm a realist that if I'm going to go for a shot on that screen, I want to get it as real as it can be. And in my film, there's a lot of time periods. There's a scene where it starts out when I was actually little to set a precedent of a message in the film. And like Lisa brought out earlier, yes, it is a comedy. It's a drama. And it's a love story. And everybody in that theater, the main thing is that it will touch their minds and their hearts and motivate them to think and feel, so that they can turn to their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their neighbor, their co-worker, friends, family, and that it will edify and uplift not only their own lives, but that of others. And that's what mentoring is. It's the impact on another. And Bruce, you know, and Mike and I and all of us have.
Well, you know that as long as the scenes and the scenarios are, you know, they're captivating and they draw the attention of the audience, you don't really need all the special effects.
Right, and the story moves. See, any movie, you don't want it to be like, it's like dead air on a radio or TV show. So you establish your characters, and it has to have constant movement. And I'm honored to say that, I mean, the masters, far more experienced than I, other producers, my director, stars that I put that script in their hands to read for the role of the mentor, that I've got many of them lined up on my wish list. So, you know, when they come back and say, wow, Pete, you wrote this from inside and out. Pete, it constantly moves from beginning to end. You know, they're laughing 1 minute, they're breaking for tissues the next, and they're white knuckling their seats. And I'm like, wow, I wish I get reviews like that when it comes out, you know. Praise God, you know. But, yeah, I mean, so, you know, that's what I wanted. But they'll be able to walk away like, you know, when you walk away from it, want it to be like, you know, and I've said this as an example many times, that, you know, you finish a good meal, you want more. You want to go back more. You hear a good song, you want to hear it again and again. You read a good book, you take it down and read it again. You want to see a good movie. It's mentoring, but it's entertaining. It's leaving a powerful message. And again, it's in my treatment that the whole message in the film, and I am so grateful that I have attained this in real life now, all right, not just career-wise, but here's the message in the film. Do what you love and love what you do, and do it wholeheartedly. And you never give up, because the only time you fail is when you quit. And you don't step on anybody's toes, all right, or stab anybody in the back to get there. You walk with God. You keep throwing spaghetti against the wall, sooner or later it's got to stick, and you will attain it. And the other big part of the message in the love end, all right, is that when you have that significant other, whether it's your wife, your husband, your children, you have your loved ones, and you got your health, you got everything. And there's a part in the film where, you know, I bring out the reality, not to be a morbid thought, but bring out the reality to touch everyone in that theater, that life's very short. Life is very precious. If the person's gone, they're not going to smell the flowers. They're not going to see the tears. They're not going to hear the nice comments, oh, he or she was a nice guy or a nice gal. So in life, don't just say it, because we all need to hear I love you. I tell it to my woman probably until she'll never be tired of it, but I tell it to Marcella all the time. But I show it. And that's
Pete, have you heard of this? This woman asked her husband, she asked him, she says, do you love me? And he says, yes. And she said, scream it to the world. So he comes over and whispers in her ear, I love you. Well, why did you whisper it? He says, you are my world.
There you go. But you see now, technically, that's what, when it's true love, and two people truly love each other, your mind, your heart, your body, your soul, all one. And that's the love of God. And that's what he said. Love the Lord thy God with all thy mind, thy heart, and your whole soul. All right. So when you love that person, your children, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, it's like, it's all. It's not a little bit. It's not half. It's all. And at least that's the school I came from. And I mean, you know, when I met Marcella, I have to honestly say in my life, I never fell in love that quickly. I never fell in love that strongly. It was just, wow, you know, and God made that happen. I believe that God puts people in each other's lives for a reason. And sometimes we don't even see it in the beginning, and we can't question it. And maybe it has to mature, maybe it has to develop, things that happen. And, you know, we put it in God's hand. So, you know, in this film, that's what I want the viewers to see. That they can maybe go home and say, wow, you know, am I putting my work far before my family? Am I talking or treating my husband or my wife the right way? And am I just going to tell people I love them and then never be in touch, or never a call, a visit, a kind gesture? Because then later, when that person's lying in a casket, so many people, you know this, we've talked in the past on shows where, and Lisa, you know, where people go through life. And, you know, we all get caught up, busy lives, busy schedules, make the money, pay the bills. But is that all there is to life? So when we got our health, man, it don't get better than that. And that's the message to our viewers. What is our show about, right, Bruce? Direction of the heart. And this is not just a show. Touch people's with God's love, positive, and try and put out and educate people to how to, gear their lives. I always use a metaphor. I can't go into your house or Lisa's house or somebody else's house and tell them, rearrange your furniture, and that couch belongs over here and that painting should be. No, but we can invite them into our home and possibly show them a better way. And that way is not our way, but God's way, and a better way, and a happier way, and a more peaceful way. Because, people have come from all different upbringing, all different lifestyles, and, there's only one way. When you see that one-way street, you can't go the other way, or you're going to have a head-on crash or whatever. So, one way is God's way, and if we're walking properly, and in life, that's what this whole meat and potatoes of this movie is when I sat down to write it. And that's what I proposed to the investors in my presentation, is that, man, when they walk out of that theater, I want it to stay with them for years. And then watch it again and again and draw from it and learn from it. That, man, if you got your health and you got your loved ones, you got everything. And then naturally you got God. And your life will be a lot better.
We have a couple of minutes left. Lisa, would you like to
back to Lisa,
tell everybody about what you're hoping, to gain from this movie experience and what other ventures you might have in the future?
Yeah, and also, Lisa, we always ask our guests every week, and you brought out a good point. Us getting you to, ask you to be a guest on the show. We went over that. That you brought out a point. What was it, Goldie Hawn? Started a group, or what actress was that started?
Yes, Goldie Hawn
She's
started a program called Mind Up, and it's been utilized in some school systems. I wanted to actually, I apologize, I wanted to find it in my stack of
if you can send me the video
health
clip,
publications, but
if you can send me a video clip or something, I can splice it into the show.
We want to send like a reel or a video clip. Remember, I was sending it up to Bruce, and we get that at the end.
I did that.
Okay, great. Post-production, we can put that in, and we'll have that in the show. But Goldie Hawn, she's fabulous. She's just a wonderful actress and a great person. And she started Mind Up. And see, Bruce, right, Mike, and you and I, we've been talking week after week to our viewers about educating, some kind of program for these young people, especially, that they could, have someone to turn to, because they're not getting in the schools. They're not getting it at home. They're not getting it off the streets, that's for sure. And you got the bullying, and you got so many things in the world. This is where we can educate them, and this is what we do on this show. Educate people, the little kids and we, the big kids, that it don't have to be that way. You can change things. You can turn it around. We're putting peace and love out there in the world. And collectively, we can turn it around. It's a mindset.
What would happen if we had something like conflict resolution in our school systems?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
They want to take out the arts and sciences when our economy fails. And I know when I was in high school, I was looking forward to taking some video course. I don't remember the title, but by the time I got to 12th grade, they took it out. Why do you think that is?
That's the first thing they attack, is the arts and sciences and this and that.
But the sports stick around. Oh, yeah, you can bet on that.
But
money in the sport.
Well, athletics is good, but yeah, it's,
and sports
I mean, these people are, that's a really, really tough job, but, and they become, people, in the limelight become, I think, epitomized on some level, and
you know what else, too, is the main thing, is they've taken morals out. They've taken God from everything. And this is why you're seeing the downfall. I mean, kids are, what hope, what chance?
Well, we got a lot of problems in the media that's spreading propaganda and hate and, discrimination of their own while they're complaining about discrimination.
Big time, yep.
It's a hypocrisy, it's crazy.
Now, Lisa, also, we want to bring out, Bruce, there's a juice that Lisa is noni juice. Let me tell you, first time that I was introduced to it, and there's a lot of imitators out there where they put sugar, starches, this and that, but the Tahitian noni juice comes from the plant, the noni plant from Tahiti, and it looks like an artichoke, kind of, you know, and it grows out there. And let me tell you, it's known as God's fruit. It is not a snake oil. It is natural, and I believe in natural, you know, fruits, vegetables purify the bloodstream. And all of this chemo and radiation and this and that for cancer, fruits and vegetables, your bean families, eat right, and you'll see a big difference. So people, again, need to be educated. And Lisa had introduced me to the noni juice, and Mr. John Bentley and your mom. And I tell you, you only drink like 2 ounces of it every day. You will see your energy increase. It has been known to ward off, because it basically regenerates the cells. And they cut it in half, threw it in the ocean, just kept regenerating and regenerating. So this is what it does to the body. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, you know, there's a reason why the Polynesians were using it for 2,000 years internally and externally, even before John Wadsworth and Stephen Story, you know, invented the original formula. And they took 2 years to develop that formula. There's no formula like it. And, you know, what John Wadsworth has done for mankind, especially in this country, because I don't know, growing up, I didn't know about superfruits.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
And I drink the one, the pure. Of course, they have different ones, different, you know, the biotech one or whatever. But they have the pure, which is right from the pulp of the plant. And I'm telling you, I have seen it increase energy. You know, even with my back pain. People that might be anemic, people that might be asthmatic, people that might have kidney disease, bladder disease, cancer. It's amazing. And bottom line, I actually put it in as product placement in my film, because there's a gymnasium scene, you know, in a hotel. Oftentimes in real life it would work out, you know, while you're on the road and you go into, and then I have it right there on the juice bar, and it's seen and it's also mentioned in the film. That's what product placement is. Because I mean, I use the product myself, and it's just incredible. So that is another great thing that, you know, we would like, because Lisa, you know, she could tell you more about it than I can. She knows all. I read up a lot on it.
Well, we're out of time, you guys. So, Lisa, why don't you give us, you know, closing comment?
Yeah,
about, you know, how you feel about the movie, and you know, what you're hoping, you know.
Well, it's been such a pleasure to know or get to know Peter over the years, and I mean, he wants to bring something, you know, that'll help people feel good. I mean, who doesn't want to feel better?
World inspiration.
You know, and laugh, and maybe, you know, open your eyes to something. I mean, you know, we kind of live in a repressive society. It's like, you know, when someone goes around expressing their feelings, it's like all of a sudden, well, what's going on with her? What's going on with him? You know?
Well, you know, you just said that, you touched my heart, because and many people have said that similar in different ways, that basically what I'm putting up there is, you know, art imitates life, like I said, and life imitates art. So I'm putting up the real deal. And this is what I said to Marcella from my heart, is that, you know, people can talk, but they don't walk it. You know, what good is it? And I always say,
yeah, I mean, you know, we got applies to so many things. Like we you know, take in knowledge, or we learn things, but really, and for myself, I'm at the top of the list. Applying though that knowledge is a completely different story.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I always say, you know, we, for myself speaking, and I know you like that. I tell Marcella all the time, I say, honey, I do my acting on the stage and screen. This is the real me that you're in love with. This is the real. That's what she fell in love with, and that's what I fell in love with her. So you see, when we do a film like this, and we're putting a message up there, that's what I want people to see, is the real deal. That maybe they can get into their own life while they're being entertained. You're going to be entertained. You're also going to be educated, uplifted, motivated. So that when you ever see a film, and man, when you walk out there, you feel like on a cloud, and you just want to, you know, you got all this energy, and then your heart feels so good, and it filled you up. That's what I want this film to be for people, that they carry in their hearts for years to come.
Well, guys,
but I'm long gone.
we're going to call it a show, and hope everybody,
So
you
why
know,
don't you real quick before we sign out, tell them where they can contact you, like Facebook, blog, website.
I put up a listing under my, Lisa Landino on Facebook. And I have a website, lisalandino.com.
There we go.
cool. All right, everybody, I got to split. God
Well,
bless.
thank you for being our guest, Bruce. Thank you so much, too. And Mike, travel safe, and God bless you, and have some great shows. Bruce, thank you so much. Lisa, it was an honor.
Thank you.
Toodles.
Love, everyone. God bless.